Die Black Wings haben einen neuen Head Coach. Troy Ward ist in Linz und hat uns gleich einmal im OÖN-Studio besucht. Wir werden ihm ein paar Fragen stellen zu seiner Person und zur aktuellen Lage der Black Wings und was er sich von seiner ersten Saison erwartet. Troy, welcome in Linz. Great to see you here. You had a good trip?
I did, Marcus. I had a good trip. Yep, it was safe, it was sound. We got a good partner picked me up, Mark, and got into town yesterday afternoon and have spent the last 24 hours kind of getting into the Black Wing hockey.
What are your first impressions?
Well, it's been great. Everything being, from the U.S. and trying to learn through social media and trying to learn through the internet. I have friends that have coached over here. Everything that I was told I've found to be true in the first 24 hours. Just wonderful, passionate people, very kind society. The welcoming has been just tremendous, and I'm very lucky to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity.
What did you see from the Black Wings so far? Did you do video analysis before you took this job in Linz, or what did you do?
No, mainly just talked to a lot of coaching friends, a lot of guys that have been in the business, people that knew people in this organization from the outside, former coaches I've coached with that are coaching in Europe, some in the NHL right now. Just the different ways the game was played, different ways that they thought Linz played, how the league was, just asking a lot of questions. And then just coming over very open-minded. Like, you can hear something from somebody else, but until you actually live it and see it, you want to feel it yourself. And so everything I've felt over the last 24 hours in my dealings through the phone and internet with Christian have been exactly what I thought, and I'm very happy.
It is your first stage in Europe as a coach. What are your expectations? What are the differences to North America? They're not really differences. We have Austrian players that we have to develop. We have kids that have to go through the system here, and we've got to make them better players. So that is somewhat similar to the same if you're coaching in the States and you're working with an NHL team like I have in the past, where I've got to develop those players. So I think that remains the same. I think the game, because the ice surface is a little bit bigger here, the game is going to be slightly different in terms of how you move your pieces around, meaning your players, how they move a little bit, what their focuses are. So their marks in the game are going to be a slightly different than the North American game, but not tremendously. The structure's still the same. And then the other part of it is just overall the schedule. I think that's a big change. Guys that play over in North America and they play in the AHL, they play 76 to 82 games plus exhibition, a lot higher. A little bit more teaching environment here, a little bit more rest. Still competitive, really obviously good hockey, but the structure and the schedule is a little bit different. So managing that with my staff and working with that group will be a little different than it's been in the past, but everything else will be pretty much the same. Is that an advantage, not to have so much games?
Well, I think it's a development advantage. You get to develop players, and I think at the same time, there's still players that might be 28 or 30, they're still developing. They want to play until, no different than a lot of players. They want to play as long as they can. So the rest and the amount of games, there's some advantages to that for sure. Because the North American model is obviously really working hard to try and play less games. But because of ownership, like in a lot of places, that doesn't happen over there because of the finances involved. But in general, I think the advantage is that we should be able to play at a high standard with the way we want to play, and then we should be able to maintain that based on the schedule and the number of games. We should be as good as we are in August as we want to be in February and March.
What is your look at the game? What is your style of the game?
As I told some people earlier today, I would say it's just honest. I think we're going to be an honest team. I think we'll approach with our staff the same way every day. We'll talk about as much about offense as we talk about defense. I think people that would come and watch us play would feel that this is a good defensive team and it's a good offensive team. So I would like to say that my style of play is that we're honest. I put as much emphasis on our special teams as I do our regular 5-on-5 play. But I would like to say that, if we're going to be a good hockey team and a team moving forward that wants to play well into the playoffs and have a chance to win a championship, we
we have to be able a team that is going to not have a lot of peaks and valleys in their season, where we have long losing streaks and long winning streaks. Like, we want to be pretty consistent every day. So that's kind of my style, is more of an honest, hardworking team that's just consistent every day. And we never get too high, we never get too low.
The Black Wings had some problems in the last season with the defensive play. Some of the players wanted to change the style of defensive play. Did you hear about those problems? Did you hear about the players' wishes?
Well, I think we've talked about as a staff already. You know, we've talked a little bit as a coaching staff about some of the good things that happened and some of the things that, you know, the coaches and myself, whether I see it on video or we talk about, would like to make some changes. I think that's a common thread amongst the whole eval league. I think that every coach is going to have players at times that think there's things that are not so good as other things. And then that's the part where maybe if I can, I'd like to say we're an honest team. I don't think that we will have weaknesses in areas. And a lot of times that's just repetition and how much you teach it. How you get to that point is what we call the process. And I believe in the process we'll go through my experiences and working now with Jurgen and Mark. We have enough experiences where we can be an honest team, where we won't have those issues a little bit. And sometimes issues where if a player or a group of players says, well, our defensive zone could use this or we could do that, those are what we call tweaks. Those are subtle little tweaks to the game. And sometimes that's just a language thing. You know, it might be saying, you know, we want you to start here and don't go there until this happens. That's just language and giving them a little bit more of a specific positional thought than being maybe saying nothing and let them freedomly make that choice. And then they make the wrong choices at times. So we'll be very detailed, very specific as to how we want to do things, how we hand off different situations, which were maybe situations that arose in the past, in the past with some of the players. But I think we can clean those up fairly quickly and move on. Like, I don't see that any problem at all. It's just a matter of changing a couple of things and some tweaks and things like that. But I think the coaches that I inherited feel very comfortable about some things that they did here, and they just want to make some tweaks to those situations. So we'll address those with the team.
Did you know anyone at the Linz organization before?
Well, I knew just last year a player named Kyle Klubertans finished the year here, and Kyle played. I recruited him to Wisconsin, played for the Badgers, and I coached him there for a little bit. So I knew Kyle was here. Obviously, I knew Palin, I knew McLean, I knew Patolny, I knew some imported guys because I'd coached against them in the past. I didn't know them personally like I do Kyle, but I've known some players that have passed through here. Danny Ehrman in the past, like I've spoken to a lot of those players already that have passed through here at different times. So I felt like I had a good knowledge of what was happening and what had happened.
It is your first whole day in Linz. How did you prepare for your visit? Did you look at the dictionary for some German words?
Well, my girlfriend and I, Marilyn, she got on Rosetta Stone right away. She had that downloaded, and she's been working on a daily process. I took, as I told people this morning, I just kind of took it the other approach. I really wanted to come in and, because in the U.S. we have our slang, we have our different ways of saying good morning and different ways of going about it. I just came over very open-minded, saying I wanted to fit in with the guys I was with and really kind of get in the heart and soul of how it's spoken and the different terminology that goes with it, if you want to call it that. And so I was very open-minded. Didn't do any studying before. I might have known Guten Morgen or something like that, but otherwise I just wanted to come over open-minded. When I do leave here now, I'll have a little feel for the language and the different tongue that's involved and how you pronunciate certain words. Now I can go home, and to me now Rosetta Stone will make more sense to me. Mm-hmm. Where if I just would have started, I think I would have been more confused than anything. But I feel comfortable, and I got some good teachers around me, so they've been helping me.
What is your homework for summer?
Summer is obviously to understand Linz as a community and how to fit in and how to be a part of the community and how you live. That's number one. Number two would be, along at the same lines, just prepare for the season with my staff, because I'm going to spend a week here, then go home, and then we'll carry on our work separately of each other. So it's important that we communicate well so that Mark and Jürgen can get the stuff done that needs to get done for the team in training camp. That's most importantly is to work on the hockey part. Then number 3 would be, you know, just to prepare as an adult to come over and live here. And part of that preparation would be to learn some German in the meantime and come over and eventually, hopefully sooner than later, it'd be nice to just speak fluent German. And that's obviously, it's like going back to school. You know, when you're young, you don't know if you want to get a master's degree. Like getting a college degree might be enough. And as you get older, you learn that it's kind of neat, and it's exciting to learn something new. So I look forward to trying to learn the language and speak it and be a part of the community.
The preparation of the roster for the upcoming season is almost done. A few places are free. Do you have some players in mind that could fit in this team?
Well, I've had some experiences with other players, for sure, that I think might be the right fit. But ultimately that rests, whether it's myself, Mark, or Jürgen, and they have as many players as I do that they've coached or been around that they would like to see that might be the right fit. All of us bring names to the table. In the end of the day, it's up to Christian financially and contract-wise to put that together, which was right for our management team. So we can give all the suggestions we want, but there's a budget and there's a dollar sign to certain situations and length of contract and all the things that go into that and bonuses and all the stuff that's involved in that. You know, we'll give Christian our thoughts as a coaching staff, and in the end, I think we have it doesn't matter whether I know them or another assistant knows them. We'll have our players A through D in that position, and we'll go right down the order. We'll talk about them and say, like, this is our best fit if it can fit with Christian, and if not, then we go to player B, and we kind of just peck away at our depth chart a little bit. And you know, we're obviously looking for players that I think fit our mold, that what we're trying to do, and that's more than just being a good player. There's a lot involved in that. So I think we'll all bring names to the table, but ultimately I think in the end of the day, if it works for us and it works for Christian, then it's going to be the right fit. But it might work for some coaches, but it might be the right fit financially or something like that. So we'll be patient, but we'll just provide them with names.
Did you already set a date for the training start?
Yeah, basically, and I would say it's rough, but I would say that we would start on the ice 1st of August. Okay, and we'd bring the guys in late July, go through a couple of days of off-ice testing, and get them ready. But by August 1st, our goal would be to be our first day of practice.
Okay, thank you. That's it, basically. Danke, Troy Ward, für die ersten Worte für das erste Interview in Oberösterreich, in seiner neuen Heimat. Wir werden auf jeden Fall dranbleiben an der ganzen Geschichte und freuen uns schon auf den Trainingsstart am 1. August.